Hello YouTube. It's that time again in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links where many decks die. And what I mean by that is that another ban list has came out on Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which is not active yet, but will go live on December 15th. And a lot of decks just got murdered. So let's hop into the game and look at the ban list. Now this is going to be a late upload before I even go over to that, because just like most people, I've been looking for that PS5. No luck yet. Anyway, back to why you're here. The new ban list and skill rebalances. So let's go ahead and get this out the way. Cocytus has been hit. He is now with the small group of cards that will never see the day of light again, because he is officially just straight up banned. And Konami's reasoning behind this is this card will be forbidden and has many decks have extreme difficulty dealing with it, leading to less deck diversity in the metagame. Which, that reason I kind of don't agree with, but let's read this effect. Cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. This card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its attack for damage calculations. So in short, this is a better Super Heavy 6 Samurai. But basically, if you couldn't use any spells, traps, or monster abilities to use this thing, you have to get over his attack points and pray to God that your opponent did not have invocation in their hand. Because if they did, his attack points just doubled and anything you have in your field just got yeeted. Now, in most of my games against an invoke player, I didn't have much issues with Cocytus. He wasn't too much of a problem. Like, you really just playing the power game against invoke when you get Cocytus in play. But hey, he's out the game for those who were having issues. But let's move on to the next one for cards that you can only have one copy of. Well, one card's in the limited to one list you can have a copy of. And the only card that's in there is Karakuri Merchant MDL 177, and I'm not going to try that last part. 177 by the way. But anyway, the reason this card is being banned on Konami's end is because this card will be limited to decrease the consistency of the Karakuri deck and reduce their ability to take control of the field when going first. Okay, so what this card does is this card must attack if able. When this face-up attack position card is selected as an attack target, change it to defense position. When this card is normal summon, add one Karakuri card from your deck to your hand. So when it's summoned, you get to search out another Karakuri, which basically helps them get off with the combos. And then this turns the Karakuri to change this card to defense position so it won't be able to attack. But mainly, this probably was a part of the combo to quickly synchro summon. Because basically, Karakuris just special summon, synchro summon, and just lock the board out to where your opponent can't really deal with them. They weren't too stressful, but they were stressful enough to make me not want to go against them that much. Now we're going to the limited 2, meaning you can only have 2 cards in your list or in your deck from this list. And right now, Dark Magician and Sir Nui. Oh, I still said the name when I was like, God damn. Sorry YouTube. Don't demonetize this. But anyway, Magicians of Dark Illusion is now limited to 2. Which puts him on the same tier list as Magician's Robe, or Rod. And now the only way this is going to be a counter argument is if they do what they did the last time they tried to nerf Dark Magician and move Robe down to 3. Or Rod down to 3. I don't know why I keep saying Robe. But this kind of hurts Dark Magician, kind of doesn't. Basically, all he does is get you Dark Magician back for free if you activate a spell or trap card during your opponent's turn. But hey, he's got hit, which kind of going to make you have to choose if you're going to put Rod or him in at 2 or at 1. Which preferably for me, I would prefer to run multiple rods versus Dark Illusions. So I would probably even end up cutting Dark Illusions for my deck if they didn't change what Persistent Rod is in the Forbidden list. Or Forbidden / Limited. And then this just straight up cut up Suranui. Because now, and sorry I'm digging my nose, never mind. But anyway, this right here just, it kind of reduces the deck consistency. And I need to check something to make sure, because if all of these are being lowered, well, put to 2, and then on top of that, one of their main tuners are at 2 already, yeah, the deck is basically dead if it's not, that card's not moved to tier 3. So let's go to the card catalog and check. Okay, I have to reorganize this. Because basically we're looking at cards that are limited to 2 right now. Oh, Squire's at 2. Yeah, you'll have to make it, just like I had to make to my Lightsworn decks, you're going to have to make some extreme cuts to Suranui now if you want the deck to still be consistent. Like basically you're going to be at 1 Squire and 1 Sun Saga, and that's a really bad tight squeeze for the archetype. So I don't know, Suranui, you might be done, because most of your main hitters just got limited, is going to be limited to 2 soon. Squire is limited to 2. This wasn't the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of Spectral Sword. I thought Spectral Sword was at 2. But still, if Squire is the searcher for the sword, and if you have to choose out of all those other cards between that and Squire, the deck is taking a big hit. But let's go back to the list. Yeah, like I don't even play Suranui. They were a challenge, but that's a big hit right there. Like, I understand Sun Saga. Out of everything that they hit for Suranui, Sun Saga is sort of the biggest hit, since we don't have too many things to deal with him in Duel Links at the moment. But okay, and then Crystron's got hit, which is a really expensive deck at Duel Links at the moment, so not too many people were playing it. And I didn't encounter the deck enough to know like what cards were like really punishing. But right here, Crystron Citri got hit. Apparently Konami's reasoning for it is this card will be limited to reduce Crystron's deck win rate, as they have been a dominant deck for a long period. They've been listed as a dominant deck for a long period. Yeah, I agree with that, but dang. But anyway, this one in particular effect during your opponent main phase or battle phase, you can target one non-tuner monster in your graveyard, spell summon it, but if it have its effects negated, if any, and if you do, synchro. Okay, yeah, I was about to go into the that's what they're supposed to do effect, because if you don't know what Crystron's do, they are a really powerful synchro archetype that basically special summon, go into synchro play during your opponent's battle phase. So your opponent thinking they're going to deal with a small monster, and they end up having to fight something that's a lot stronger than theirs. But yeah, I kind of sad to see this go down to 2, but I probably would find myself running it like a rogue synchro deck, regardless of this nerf. Crystron's would use this apparently, but Scrap Recycler, this card will be limited along with other cards used in Crystron decks to reduce their ability to easily set up a synchro. I understand. Yeah, okay. So basically these 3 cards being hit because of Crystron's. That's one thing I don't like about Konami's ban list, at least in the TCG, is that one card get hits because of another one, but never the main issue. At least the main issue is being hit in Duel Link, But in the TCG, for example, Jet Synchron got hit because Crystron something fiber was being abused for a ridiculous long combo, and Jet Synchron took a hit instead of the main problem. But that's besides the point. But it's kind of bad to see other cards take a hit just because of one problematic archetype. And to see Gen X Controller get hit, it shouldn't affect its own archetype too badly. But still, because for if you don't know, Gen X is an archetype that needs Gen X Controller to go into the synchro plays. So to kind of see him get hit is kind of like, Okay, and then the Dragunchi card got hit, which I know this one was a part of the main plays to start popping off really fast. But this card will be limited to prevent Dragunchi decks from having easy access to. Yeah, okay. Okay, and then for one of my worries, Invocation got changed to 3. So, well, the one card that was hit invoked. So, let me go check something real quick then, because I know we just looked at the list, but I feel like that should matter for some reason, but not really. I think I already know the answer. I think it's their version of Blue Boy, and if you don't know, Blue Boy is what people call one of the spellbook monsters. I should have him on screen if I don't remember his name before I finish this. Okay, so that's why Invocation is bad now. Well, it's not bad. You can still play Invokes, you just will no longer have access to Caucasus. And then you also have to choose what's more important to you. Having Alistair here, or having having Invocation. Which for Invoked, you want Invocation. So probably the quantity might go either 1 Alistair, 2 Invoked, 2 Alistair, 1 Invoke. Just scratch that one. Yeah, okay, there's only one option if you're still planning to play like Invoked in a deck for an engine. Granted, you can even do 1 of each because, well, they ricochet off each other. He bans himself, you get the spell card back. The spell card activates effect, you get him back. They just juggle each other, so it kind of doesn't even matter if him or Invocation get hit in any way. But let's keep going back to our. I hit the wrong thing. But let's go back to our tier 3 in the ban list. Well, limited to 3 in the ban list, and see how it keeps going. Okay. Well, they apparently put in Fusion Reserve put to 3. This card will be limited so that it cannot be played along multiple copies of generic limit 3 cards. Okay. But in short, if you don't know what Fusion Reserve does, what it allows you to do is show your opponent, basically in your extra deck, one monster that specifically calls out a card in its name, and then you're allowed to essentially search out that card from your deck, add it to your hand, and if you have a polymerization in your graveyard, you're allowed to add that to your hand as well. So essentially, this card is a free recover for polymerization, and is also a searcher for any of the fusion material needed for your fusion monsters. So saying you need to go into a Neos fusion, you can use this, get Neos in your hand, and if you're doing like a Mask Hero, or, well, not Mask Hero, but any of the generic hero fusions that just uses a hero monster and a certain element, you get Poly if it's in the graveyard for this effect. And then Magician's Navigation is to 3. Yep, so this doesn't matter. Or at least not for my build for the Dark Magician deck, it doesn't matter. But, well, hold up. It actually kind of does matter in competitiveness, because now basically Navigation and Magician's Rod is competing for which ones you have multiple of. and I feel like it's probably going to be a quantity of 2 and 1, just because rod searches navigation. I wonder how is this going to affect the deck, but still, it doesn't hurt the deck too bad. I already think that like you can kind of even drop this, but it's up to you really on your preference. But I'm not really worried about. The last card we have is Assault Armor. The limitation to this card will be ease as its power level is acceptable in the current meta. Okay, so apparently this card was on the list because it was inappropriate for the meta at some point. But equip onto a warrior type monster that is the only monster you control. It gains 300 attack during your main phase. You can send this equipped card to the graveyard to allow the equipped monster to attack twice. Okay, I'm already thinking of some stupid stuff with it, but I kind of think it's okay for the current meta game, but kind of don't. Ooh. Okay, so for hires getting some of their support off of the ban list now. During your, they're getting their Dampa Marksman for hire. And during your main phase, you can spell summon one monster for hire from your hand except Dampa. If a monster for hire is special summoned to your field while you control this card, except in the damage step, you can target one face-up monster on the field, destroy it. Okay. And the reason for removing this from the ban list is, although it is a very powerful card, we are easing the limitation of this card, as for hire decks are now used less frequently. Okay. And I never considered this card a threat, so I'm kind of curious on why they even put this on the list. Your opponent draw 3 cards. Both players look at the cards in their hand. Are there any spell cards among them? This card. Okay, so it forces your opponent to lose the spell cards. In certain situations, this would be bad for Invoke, but But again, like I said, Alistair would just get the invocation back. But there are certain decks that will need the spell cards, so it's kind of like, shoot. But yeah, that's the ban list. Dragoons are getting more power back. For hires getting more support back as well. And Dark Magician took a small hit in my opinion. Invoke lost one of the big hitters, but to me that's still a small hit for them. They have other powerful monsters in the deck. And then Surinui, I think I know what the thumbnail is going to be, and it's just going to be the coffin dance meme with the Surinui cards in the coffin. Because clearly, especially kills the deck inconsistency for me, or to me. Like, I don't think Surinui is going to be as popular as it once was. Because literally, before this, Surinui had 3 different versions of his deck at tier 2. And after this ban list, whew, they are gonna be nerfed as hell. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links and Pokemon video, which should be out Monday. But I'm out. Peace.